welcome back to the Diocesan Conference 2026. Are you having a good time, Alex?
I am having a very good time. Yes, I'm really enjoying it so far. I've enjoyed the speeches and the music.
Yeah.
And we're moving on. We're going to talk about art, aren't we?
Yes, I'm very excited to hear this because Debbie, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, this is the second time you've been to a Diocesan Conference, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And 2 for 2, that's brilliant, isn't it? So that's fantastic. So Debbie, tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you and what are you doing today?
I am an art historian. I teach history of art at the University of Glasgow. I've been doing that for a long time. And when I'm not at the university, I also really enjoy getting out and talking to strange and unusual bunches of people.
Oh, nothing new then, nothing new.
They don't come much stranger than us, do you, Debbie?
So, yes, getting outside the university, talking about art and hearing other people respond to works of art as well is
brilliant.
Something I find fascinating.
Oh, fantastic.
Debbie, tell us a bit about what you're going to talk about. Don't give out everything away, but just maybe the themes of what you're going to cover in the next hour or so.
Yeah, well, the focus for this conference this year is the Gospel of Luke. So when we were thinking about what I might bring to the conference, obviously I'm going to be looking at works of visual art, and we thought it would make sense to just think a little bit about some of the ways in which Luke is a storyteller, consummately, and we also have all of these visual works that tell that story in a different register. You know, it's like a different language, almost, or a different dialect. And so interesting things can happen if we bring word and image together, and we're going to focus on image this evening, and really just open our minds, eyes and imaginations to what these very, very diverse works of art might open up in terms of perspectives on just a few stories from Luke's
fantastic.
Gospel.
What is it about art that you think really draws people in? Just in the last few days, Debbie, I watched a programme about Lowry. And they'd found some undiscovered recordings of interviews with him. And it was really fascinating listening how he'd kind of just found the subject, a niche subject that other people hadn't really covered, turned it into one of the most famous northern artists of all time. What is it about art that you think that draws people into a story such as the Gospel of Luke?
Yes, it's fascinating. So there's a writer called Jeanette Winterson who made the comment that artists do the looking on our behalf in the way that monks, I think, monasteries used to do the praying on behalf of the people. So there's something really interesting about that and resonant, I think. So it's a sense in which artists are people who spend their lives paying attention in various ways, using their imaginations, inhabiting their imaginations, and we get to benefit from that work, that labour of looking and imagining and visualising. And the artist in culture is also a compelling figure. Who doesn't love an artist in terms of just fascinating, often contrary figures, sometimes difficult, sometimes eccentric. I think as a culture we enjoy allowing artists to be subversive, perhaps I might say controversially, so we don't have to be.
Yes, well, maybe, and without which things like OK Magazine wouldn't exist, right? You know, to be able to follow artists around and say what they're wearing, what they're doing, what they're seeing, what they're putting out.
It's not a publication.
No.
I read very often.
No, me neither, really. I'm more of a take a break. But yeah.
Debbie, what about art over the years? I mean, I'm not an art expert by any means, but a friend of mine, a guy called Timothy Good, has written a book about ableism, and he's a lover of art, and he was saying how art was very much, in the early days, very centred in a misogynistic male identity kind of images. Have you seen changes in that, in the images of the Gospel of Luke over the years?
Oh gosh, well that's a huge question, and
Sorry.
I mean, I think one of the I mean, I guess to give a concise answer, that's one of the reasons why it's important to look at art, because art articulates both dominant culture and ways of challenging and subverting and moving that culture on. It tells us huge amount. That's why it's worth looking at the past, because if you want to understand the present, you have to understand the past. And looking at how people visualized things and phenomena and people and groups in the past helps us to understand why we have the culture that we have now, and that includes visual practices and articulations of misogyny, and ableism, racism, all of these kinds of things. So it's an important subject.
And are you an artist yourself? Those of us who are here at the conference, while the first session was going on, there was some incredible artwork going on. And we were right at the back, so I do want to have a closer look. But are you an artist yourself, or were you intrigued by what was going on there as well?
I was very intrigued. It was wonderful seeing that work, actually come to life in front of us all. In real time. And yes, I do paint, I do draw. I hesitate to call myself an artist for probably complicated reasons to do with me looking at great artists a lot. But yes, I have a painting and drawing practice.
So just before we sort of finish off and you head off and talk to us all, which we're really looking forward to, is there a sort of what would you say to somebody who's not really entered, they don't feel they've entered really the artistic world, they don't really know much about what to expect? What would you say as an encouragement to them about what you're going to say, but also in themselves finding art in the world around them?
Well, that applies to a lot of people. And what I would say to anyone in that kind of situation is all it takes is openness and curiosity. That's it. You don't need any special knowledge. You don't need to have read anything in particular, or even have been to many galleries or museums or anything like that. You just need to present yourself in front of an artwork, spend time with it, and see what happens. Be open to what happens
within you. Wow, fantastic.
Or have a conversation with somebody in front of a work of art. Some of the best conversations can happen when you're ostensibly talking about the work of art, but it leads into more. It's like having a three-way conversation with the artist. And so, yes.
Fabulous. Well, I know I'm looking forward to your speech, and so I hope this has encouraged you to stay with us on the YouTube channel. I've had a little voice in my ear saying you need to go.
Yes. Debbie, thank you so much.
My
Brilliant.
orders.
You've received your marching
orders. Lovely to talk to you.
Yes, I'll take that from you. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Off I go.
Yeah. Yes. So just a little reminder. Thank you, Debbie, for that. That was really, really interesting. If you've just joined us and you're streaming online on YouTube, you can also find us now on the app, which is great. The app is working. It wasn't working before, but it is now.
Yeah, and
so we fixed it. There's been a tech giant working on it with spanners and screwdrivers and all sorts, and now it is working. And we would love for you to comment, to get in touch with us, to let us know that you're watching, that you're with us, because this is about sharing a conversation, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, it is. And if you missed the first session, it is there now on the YouTube channel, so you can watch that at your leisure. Bishop Philip is bang on for me. He's talking about being joyful.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And you'll also hear his words and an introduction to the diocesan hymn that hit us hard today. So do you like that, Chris?
I did. I like that. We've got a new hymn. It's coming to a church near you very soon, and we're really looking forward to sharing it with everyone. But if go back and look at the live stream on YouTube, it's terrific and quite singable. It's got all sorts of local kind of connections to it. So I think fantastic.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I love in the diversity. You and I can hear. I don't know if you can hear it on the YouTube feed. We've got some beautiful music that Munawar's put together for us. So there really is incredible diversity here, something for everybody. So stick with us and have a look through the itinerary. Check out the Facebook page for the Blackburn Diocese. Follow us on YouTube. And we look forward to catching up with you after this.
And if you're seething with jealousy, you'd like to be here, but you can't, put in the comments, I'm jealous. Tell us you're jealous, and we'll pray for you.
Just reach over there, Chris.
This might make you jealous.
He's enjoying it. He thinks
you're very good.
He thinks he's on his holidays.
I do.
I've got myself a very modest bottle of iced tea there.
It's good for you. It's good for you. Other beers are available.
Should we finish with the cheers?
A cheers. Yeah, a cheers.
Cheers to everybody.
We've got another guest.
Hang on, we've got more. We've got more. We are just packed full. Who've we got? Susan.
Hello, Susan. Come and have a sit down. Do you know we're getting smoother and smoother at this, Alex?
Wonderful.
Susan, look down that camera, and for people who don't know who you are, tell them who you are, where you are from, and what your role is.
I can do that. My name is Susan Stewart. I'm an ALM in the Fellside team, which is in Garstang Deanery, and I also work for the diocese.
Brilliant.
What's your role with the diocese?
I'm the clergy appointments officer working at Bishop's House. So anybody has a parish in vacancy, then you may have spoken to me, or if there's a vacancy coming up, you may speak to me in the future.
We got quite well acquainted with Clevenger, didn't we?
We did indeed. We did indeed.
So, are you enjoying things so far?
So far, it's been really good, actually. Yeah, really nice.
Highlight? Biggest moment?
Oh goodness. I think just being in fellowship with other Christians and other like-minded people has just been really good so far.
Terrific. We were singing a particular hymn, and it was a sort of traditional classic, and the roof was like, ooh, wasn't it? There was a really good...
Absolutely. The singing has been fantastic so far.
Yeah,
really enjoyed the singing, yeah.
And it's got a lovely relaxed feel about it. I think that's the intention of the conference. Like you say, people using it not just for learning, but for rest and resuscitation. Are you hoping to take a little bit of time out as well within the week?
Yeah, I think for me, sometimes just being involved in church every week, you can just be so busy that you don't actually take, well, this is me certainly, don't take the time to just actually sit back and allow God to speak to me and fill me and refill me. So that's what I'm really looking forward to this week.
Yes, brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure that he's going to. I hope that he does for me too, and I'm sure, Alex, you feel similarly. But I'm particularly intrigued by the idea that joy is such a key part of the Christian faith. I mean, it's true, isn't it? We know it's
Absolutely.
true, but to be reminded so viscerally is really good.
Yeah. And I think it was really quite important what was said earlier when we heard about joy is a word that's used though so much in society.
Well, Greg's, yeah.
Well, there you go, Greg's, yeah, absolutely. But I think we then lose the meaning of what real joy is. So to kind of have that reset and hopefully have, I think we're quite a joyful bunch.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully have a lot more joy in our lives by the time we leave this week will be really good.
And it's a fast-moving project. We're on to art next. Are you looking forward to this next presentation?
I'm looking forward to it, but I know nothing about art,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping there's no questions.
We were in that camp, and we both went to Debbie's session at the last conference and loved it. And I think you're in for a treat, and you are in for a treat.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us,
We're
Susan.
going now to the session as it's about to begin. God bless, guys. Don't forget to
Bye.
comment.
Okay, folks, we'll start in 1 minute. Good evening, everyone. It's not, you can tell the teachers. It's not saying too much to say a very warm welcome back. I hope you're having a really good time so far. I hope the meal went well. If we haven't met before, my name's David Pickin, and somebody in the chapel will know who I am. So if you want to know and you don't know, ask them and they'll tell you afterwards. My friend is...
Hello, I'm Rana Shahada.
It's really, really good to be hosting this session. In a moment, we're going to worship together for a little while before we hear our keynote address for the evening. So let's just keep a moment of silence and then we'll lead into prayer. Come, O Christ, and fill us with quiet confidence. Make us realize that your love will never disappear, and that to follow you means giving our lives. Amen. So we give thanks to the Lord and rejoice as we sing together.
Would you stand? In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. My soul shall sing to you, for you have done wondrous things. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. With joy you will draw water in the wells of salvation. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. Look to God, do not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. You are my salvation. I will trust in you. I shall not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is strength. You are my song. In the Lord I'll be ever thankful. In the Lord I will rejoice. not be afraid. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. Lift up your voices, the Lord is near. So bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who leads me into life. Bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who leads me into life. It is God who forgives all your guilt, who heals every one of your ills, who redeems your life from the grave, who crowns you with love and compassion. So bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who leads me into life. The Lord is compassionate, slow to anger and rich in mercy. God does not treat us according to our deeds, nor repay us according to our faults. So bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who leads me into life. As a father has compassion on his children, the Lord has mercy on those who fear him. For God knows of what we are made. He remembers that we are dust. Bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who silence, we remain standing to be attentive to the presence of God in our midst. Sing together. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, touching lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are waymaker. never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
Yes,
You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. 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 Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you
Eternal light, shine into our hearts. Eternal goodness, deliver us from evil. Eternal power, be our support. Eternal wisdom, scatter the darkness of our ignorance. Eternal pity, have mercy upon us, that with all our heart and mind and soul and strength we may seek your face and be brought by your infinite mercy to your holy presence, through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
as sunsets beauty bays on beacon towering flame along the golden mile, an open door proclaims the power of the love of God being broken lies renewed. A people born to serve and serve. All for Jesus. With thankfulness for years of faithful service done, foundations that have passed, and strength is woven plain from sea to mountain side. God's promise still remains. Our vision to restore and grow with joy that mercy brings. Our people called to hope and prayer. All for Jesus. In villages and towns are treasures of the faith. Ordinary lives empowered, disciples to be made. This wave of God's transforming love, just like the flowing tide, our people called to rise and go. All for Jesus.
Please be seated. After, I think, a round of applause is definitely in order. What a pleasure and a joy it is to be here, to be able to raise my voice in song, just to let it all go. It makes a difference from doing it in my car. So it's fantastic. It's my first conference, and I'm delighted to be here, to learn, to grow, to have those spiritual batteries recharged. Just take a couple of minutes, turn to the person next to you, in front of you, behind you, especially if you don't know them. What did you take from session number 1? Or what have been your highlights so far? Just talk to a person, ideally somebody that you don't know.
Folks, I'm sorry I've got to bring this to a close. I think we're all pretty chuffed that you've got so much to say to one another. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, the benefit of being up here, can I just tell you, you are looking magnificent. Congratulations. Folks, tonight we are moving into our next phase with this session. We've had a great start already. I hope you agree with that. In a little while, we're going to be, as our theme tonight, we're going to have storytelling in Luke, looked at through visual art, funnily enough, because we've got an art historian in our midst. That seemed to make a bit of sense, didn't it, Debbie? So we're delighted that Debbie will be coming to talk with us in a while. But before she does, we've got two more little bits. I don't know if you've noticed, but somebody's been quite busy here. So Julianne, would you mind coming forward, please, and just sharing with us? So first things first, just so you know, I'm a little bit in awe of that, okay? So if you'd like to share with us where you've been led.
Yeah. So it was really interesting to hear the keynote speaker talk about joy, because this painting is, and Jill said that the verse for today is, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Because my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And I don't want to preach to a room full of bishops and vicars, but it was a while back where the Lord showed me that the yoke is a big ox, and Jesus was referring to a daddy ox that had a yoke over it to a baby ox. And so the burden of the yoke was mainly on the older ox to teach the younger ox how to plow a field. And so I went through a whole of my Christian life not really knowing that. But I think that's fascinating, because that's what I've painted. I've painted a field that each of you are plowing. And you're plowing it not alone. Maybe some of you are plowing it alone, but you shouldn't be, because Jesus wants us to allow him to take that weight. And the borders of this field are very clear. And God told me to paint it in an L shape because it's the learning. You are a learner, and you're learning from him. And no servant is above his master. And the whole point of this is for us to be like children. And you know, when you're on holiday as a child, when you're full of joy, you don't worry about the plane, you don't worry about the meals, the restaurant, whether nothing. You worry about nothing apart from when are you going to get in that pool, or when you're going to get in the sea. And that's what God showed me. He said, I want them to feel like they're on holiday. To feel like they don't have a worry if I'm taking that burden. And God actually showed me this myself. I was feeling burdened, and I was praying about what I should paint for you all. And I went upstairs and decided, because I was feeling so burdened by the world and the evil and everything, and what am I going to say to all these people, and what is it you want me to say or paint? And I decided to put on a whole outfit as if I was going to the French Riviera. And it wasn't a particularly sunny day in the Lake District that day. And I walked down the street feeling great, thinking, yeah, I'm going to just pretend I'm just in the French Riviera today. And a friend of mine, sent me a text saying, I've just seen you walking down the main street, and I'm in my car, and you look like you're going to the French Riviera. And the Lord instantly said to me, that's what I want you to feel like every single day. I want you to know that my eye is on you, and that each of you are plowing a field, not alone. You're only plowing your field, but his eye is on you, is on your field, and that field is you plant, somebody else waters, but it's him that makes it grow. That's not your responsibility, but you learn from him and let him take that burden.
Beautiful, thank you very much. Debbie's going to come forward in a few moments, and she'll be leading us. Matt's going to assist with that as well, but before that, we're going to hear a little bit more. Rana.
Inviting Gareth up on the stage. Gareth obviously wrote that wonderful hymn that is now so catchy, and we're going to be singing it quite a lot. And tomorrow, Gareth's going to be telling us about a very special journey of his. But I believe you have a bit of an appetizer for us right now, Gareth. Is that right? I will leave it with you.
Yes, I want to take you on a journey, not a burdensome one that you can come along vicariously with me in song. Because last June, my latest project, I walked from Lindisfarne to Durham, the 142 miles along St. Oswald's Way and the Way of Light. And the idea was that I carried a small guitar on my back. I played concerts at every community that I stayed with. And I was seeking to get to the heart of pilgrimage and understand what it means to journey through, what it's like to be a pilgrim, what it's like to receive a pilgrim through your place. And the album that came out of it, which I crowdfunded last year and recorded in December up in Scotland, is called A Troubadour Journey, Lindisfarne to Durham. And tomorrow, I would invite you to come and put your your metaphorical walking shoes on and join me for a journey, a potted history of the journey, because I can't do it all. But I'll whisk you from one place to the other and tell you what it was like and make some observations as I go. This song that I'm going to sing you, I'm going to sing you two songs just now. The first one is a phrase that kept coming up. This is my first pilgrimage. I'd never done one before. And everywhere I looked, there was one phrase that kept coming back at me. And it was this sense that we are all pilgrims. And that really fascinated me. And this is the one song that I actually brought to the trail. Most of them I wrote after coming back on retreat in the Cheviot Hills and back on Holy Island. But this song I brought and shaped as I worked through these communities and got more perspectives on pilgrimage. So the chorus of this, it goes, we are all pilgrims. We are all traveling along. We are all looking for somewhere to belong. If you pick it up, it would be lovely to have your voices on the chorus with me. So it goes like this. Woke with the sun and set across the fields, onto the trail with hope and memories. Carried my burdens till it came to me. Will I be this restless in eternity? This is your bit. We are all pilgrims. We are all traveling along. We are all looking for somewhere to belong. Did I come this way to find myself? And did I choose, or was I compelled to find the rhythm of the traveling song? Have I been a pilgrim all along? All along. We are all pilgrims. We are all traveling along. We are all looking for somewhere to belong. Oh, the paradox that lies beneath destinations and forgiveness that I see, and how I wrestle with my own belief when it's It's in the journey that I find relief. Stretched out the pace and walked against the wind. Strange how resistance makes us stronger still. Out in the distance I could see the light. Walking out of darkness will carry me tonight. Carry me, we are all pilgrims. We are all traveling along. We are all looking for somewhere to belong. Yes, we're all pilgrims. We are all traveling alone. We are all looking for somewhere to belong. So, show of hands in the room, how many people have been to Northumberland and County Durham? Wow, wonderful, that's great. It's a wonderful part of the world, so historic, and I was literally walking in the footsteps of the Northern Saints, and I did a concert on Holy Island the night before I set off on my journey, and I'd professed that it was my first pilgrimage rodeo, as it were, and somebody came up to me at the end and they said, the way, it will change you. And I didn't know whether that was encouraging or ominous, but anyway, I took it as encouraging. And but I reflected on that as I walked, and I have to say, now having completed the journey, I think I know a little bit more about what they meant. And this little song, just as a taster for tomorrow's concert, where I delve a little bit more deeply into the journey that I had. This little song tries to explore that, but through the medium of what I was singing. There's a lot to love about the Northeast. There's a lot to love about the Northwest, but the coast in the Northeast is stunning. And as I walked along the Northumberland coast, that little phrase, the way it will change you, kept sort of ringing in my ears. So this is a little song called Green and Blue. Breaking waves in hidden bays along the shore. Driftwood travels with the tide. Ruins fall into the dunes where once they were alive. My boots and laces making traces through the grass. Islands in and out of view. Fishing boats along the coast, and all is green and blue. And as I walk by the land, by the North Sea and the sand, I can feel the rhythm of the ebb and flow. And with every step I take, every memory I make, this place will stay with me no matter where I go. Ancient castles and the seat of kings, their ghosts emerge and disappear. The way of saints, the summer can scarce believe I'm here. And as I walk by the land, by the North Sea and the sand, I can feel the rhythm of the ebb and flow. And with every step I take, every memory I make, this place will stay with me no matter where I go. And the way it will change you, and all things will deepen, hold and sharpen. The way it will change you, that's what I was told. And now I know. And now I know. Join me for a journey tomorrow.
Thank you so much. We look forward to more. Debbie, Matt, thank you. Over to you. We're really looking forward to it.
Thank you. I'm just going to rearrange the furniture slightly and do something with the lights. Oh, my glamorous assistant has come to do that for me. Well, what a treat that's all been this evening. Quite extraordinary. Just so many beautiful pieces of music, songs, and this wonderful painting to reflect on. It's a conference that's turning out to give so many riches already, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be here again with you. And I was asked, really, to reflect a little bit on the subject of storytelling in Luke, and to look at this through the means of visual art. So that's what we're going to do today. As you know, I'm an art historian, and I find endless riches within visual works of art. And through just a few moments, a few encounters in the Gospel of Luke, I've selected some works for us to look at and to explore from a range of different perspectives, and hopefully all will become clear as we proceed. But I thought we might as well begin with an image of the man himself, Luke the evangelist. You can see he's on the title page there, and that comes from an annunciation. Bishop Philip talked to us about this extraordinary moment of this angelic messenger arriving for this extraordinary message to Mary. And of course, the Annunciation is a much beloved subject in the history of art. And here we have a work from the Italian Renaissance, from the Umbrian school, a very elaborate work that seeks to emphasize Mary's dignity, beauty, royalty, high status. You can see all of that in that very glamorous Italian, beautiful setting here. And there we have the angel Gabriel on the left, Mary on the right, the presence of God indicated by the shimmering gold above. There's a lot going on here, but what I really love about this particular Annunciation is that figure between them. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's a representation of the evangelist Saint Luke between Gabriel and Mary, and what is he doing? He's taking notes. He's writing the gospel. He's mediating between God and humanity, between the figures. He's like a reporter, in a sense. And I just love the way that this 15th century painter has chosen to represent Luke, who looks serene but quite concentrated in the act of writing, and as if to emphasize the enormity of what he's writing. It's not just a piece of paper. He's writing on a huge kind of banderole. It's like a scroll, but it's a strip that's often used to designate speech, actually, spoken word in art of this period. There are books everywhere. Of course, we have the traditional book that Mary holds. Luke has a book on his lap. And, wonderfully, his attribute, the winged ox next to him, who identifies Luke as Luke for us, as well as, of course, the Annunciation setting. Even the ox is entangled in the words, the sort of fabric of the gospel there. And there's even a book nestled in between the ox's front legs. And I love just small details, really interesting things about borders and touch in these kinds of paintings. If you look at the wing nearest me of the ox, can you see that it comes infinitesimally close to Gabriel, but it does not touch? Look at the other end. Can you see a swishing tail there? The ox's tail swishes, but infinitesimally close to the Virgin, but it does not touch. And touch, proximity, and borders are going to be a few little themes that will perhaps come out in what we explore this evening. This kind of Annunciation is fairly traditional in many ways. But what about when artists in our own age use their imaginations to rethink a familiar image? We might look at the work of the extraordinary Portuguese artist Paula Rego, who sadly died just a few years ago. She was Portuguese, but she spent a lot of her career working in London and had a very close connection with the National Gallery in London, a residency there that was very fruitful. She's an absolutely remarkable figure in the art world for many reasons, but a couple of them being her extraordinary imagination, her casting of figures in sort of living tableaus who work out dramas often riven with tensions and ambivalences, but also her technical skill, specifically in the medium of chalk pastel. And I don't know if anyone here has ever tried making a work of art using chalk pastel. I have, and it's one of the trickiest media to use and to do well. This is an Annunciation by Paula Rego. What do we see here? It's very different, isn't it? Look at Mary. What does she look like? A schoolgirl, perhaps. She's wearing blue, which is the traditional colour for Mary, signifying her high status, but it's the pleated skirt of perhaps a uniform. She has an awkward adolescent quality to her. Maybe she looks even slightly stroppy. And Gabriel, have you ever seen a Gabriel like that? Has arrived, a stocky, Hispanic-looking figure of an indeterminate gender, perhaps. Wings that we actually know from Paula Rego's discussion of this work are strapped on. The artist used a model with strapped-on wings and then chose to retain the strap, if you can see that there. And the figure announces what will be with Mary, with this extraordinary gesture to the womb. Can you see that? It's bodily. That work is part of a cycle that was commissioned for the chapel in the Presidential Palace in Lisbon, the Belém Chapel. You can see the cycle here. And what Paula Rego was asked to produce was a kind of Stations of Mary. The full title is The Cycle of Life of the Virgin Mary and the Passion of Christ. And the artist explained that her concern here was to rethink the familiar story from the perspective of Mary. She did it in, I think, a consciously reverent and at the same time subversive way. We don't have time to look at the full cycle, although they're worth looking at. You can see them arranged there around the chapel, interestingly in juxtaposition with a traditional work of art on the far wall, a traditional nativity above the altar. But I just want to bring our attention to this from the cycle. This is Rego's Nativity. Let's think about how many images of the Nativity we've seen, how we are surrounded, we are saturated, our culture is saturated with the imagery of the Nativity. Advent calendars, Christmas cards, before you've even stepped into a gallery. How often have you seen the Nativity? And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger. What do we see? Usually, she wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger. The baby is presented to us in the manger. Do we ever see, and she gave birth to her firstborn son? And here we have an image of a body in labor, a body that has borne the Son of God within it. And that Son of God must be incarnate, must enter the world. It's a birth. It's something that approximately half the population frequently go through. It's very ordinary. And yet it's extraordinary here as well. And Gabriel, look at the angel. Gabriel has adopted the role of a kind of midwife to the birth. God's messenger present, cradling Mary as she labors, as she goes through the pain of childbirth, the duration of it, the sweat, the blood, the agony of this bringing to life of the Son of God, of Emmanuel. And I really notice about this work, many things. The light is very significant, that strong light coming from the left, casting these bright shadows, stark shadows. I notice the gesture of Mary's hand on her belly that echoes that gesture that we saw before on the belly of the angel. It's like a kind of transference of that. There are all kinds of things, but that kind of supporting of the body is very striking as well. So she wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in the manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. Let's look at another work. This one. What do we see here? It's a snow scene, a snowy village sometime in the past. It's European, it's in the Netherlands. It's a busy scene in a large village or a small town. People are rushing around, concerned with carrying things, fetching things, going out, coming home, interacting, collecting firewood, collecting water. There's a foolish, somewhat foolhardy little child on the ice in the foreground who is scudding backwards towards a hole in the ice. There's all kinds of little human dramas going on here. It's a busy scene. And it is this, the adoration of the kings in the snow, also known as the Epiphany, by Peter Bruegel the Elder, painted in 1563. I don't like being asked the question that I get asked a lot, which is, what is my favorite artwork? Or if I could, have a desert island disc artwork, what would it be? Because I can't answer that question. But if I really have to, sometimes, quite often, I say this one. I think it's an extraordinary painting for many reasons, some of which I'd just like to share with you. We should note, of course, that Luke's gospel talks about the shepherds, not the kings, but will allow this image here as well. But can you find the Holy Family? Can you find the focus of this painting? Have you seen them yet? They are at the very farthest margin they could possibly be at in this painting. So we're back with that kind of like sort of infinitesimal edge, an edge to something. The artist has taken the decision not only to place the Christ child and the Holy Family right at the edge of this painting, but also to make it a snow scene. What does snow do? Snow hides, it covers, we could say it swaddles, it obscures. It also changes how things look. Can you see how the roofs are highlighted, for example? See how the heads of people there are dusted in snow. But the artist has also almost effaced his own artwork. Can you imagine painting this detailed scene and then taking your white pigment and scattering it, dotting it all over the surface? So there's something fascinating going on here about hiding, what is obscured. And I think this is so conscious and so delicate here and echoed in that placement of the Holy Family right there at the far left. And if we zoom in a little bit, we can see the crowds milling around. We gradually discern that some of them are heading towards that family. There are figures bowing, kneeling. There's a sense of visitors coming, but they are only part of the world, the wider scene. And right at the edge, an image, I think, of absolute humility, of ordinariness, barely there, and yet absolutely part of this scene. This is a very close-up image of the kind that it's very difficult to get with the naked eye, but the wonders of technology can bring it to us, where you can just see that Jesus, the baby, is almost immaterial there, just sketched by the artist. And I think, therefore, this painting has something quite fundamentally to do with recognition, with seeing, with perception, and with what happens on the edges and the margins. It has to do with a kind of diminishment, in a way, as well as the most extraordinary event in the history of humanity and of the world. Let's think about something that the Catholic activist, worker, and theologian Dorothy Day wrote in 1945 in an essay called Room for Christ. I like this very much, and I like thinking about it in conjunction with this painting. She wrote, "If everyone were holy and handsome, with altar Christus shining in neon lighting from them, it would be easy to see Christ in everyone. If Mary had appeared in Bethlehem, clothed, as St. John says, with the sun, a crown of 12 stars on her head and the moon under her feet, then people would have fought to make room for her. But that was not God's way for her, nor is it Christ's way for himself now, when he is disguised under every type of humanity that treads the earth." And I think it's from this perspective that we can read this remarkable painting and think of how Christ is veiled in flesh as this slice of ordinary life, and our world is veiled in snow. So far, we've been thinking about seeing the unseen, things that we don't usually see. Something about God at the margins, at the edges, these thin borders between or within our encounters with God. let's come on to think a little bit about touch. In a moment, I'm going to get Matt up to read a passage for us. Just before I do, this is the oldest work of art I've brought to show to you. It's prehistoric. I don't know if any of you have seen this before or images of it. It's known as the Cave of Hands. I thought about this because of this little segment where we're going to think about the sense of touch. We've been talking a lot about sight, but what about touch? And just look at this record of centuries, even millennia, of human beings who have desired to touch and to leave a record of that touch on this cave wall. There are layers and layers and layers of handprints made by people as far back as 7,300 BC, it is estimated. I think it's a wonderfully kind of human image. It's playful, it's creative, it's very real, it's very tangible, and there are many more of these hand paintings. They suggest also something of a kind of crowding of humanity as well. And these are all relevant, I think, as a way into thinking about the passage. I'd like to ask Matt to read for us. It's from the 8th chapter of Luke.
As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleed for 12 years, but nobody could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately the bleeding stopped. Who touched me? Jesus asked her. When they all denied it, Peter said, Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you. Huh? But Jesus said, someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me. Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, Daughter, your faith has healed you. Now go in peace.
Thank you. I put some images up as Matt was reading that so beautifully. And I wanted us to think about this act of touch in faith, and again about bodies, her trembling, her falling to the ground, rendered in this beautiful little sketch by Rembrandt. Remember the touch of the crowds. I was also interested when I was thinking about this passage. I just decided to look at a few different translations, and I was just very struck by the King James Version, how it renders this line, and Jesus said, somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. Most other translations read power. I'm not an expert in the King James Bible era and the use of language then, but there's something striking here about the idea of virtue leaving the body somehow in this old translation. And it reminds us, of course, we know that this woman who lived with this hemorrhaging, this bleeding for 12 years, was ritually unclean, impure, according to ritual custom and practices of that era. It meant that she was isolated. It meant that just mixing with others, touching, particularly touching a man, touching Jesus, contravened all the purity laws. When I was thinking about this passage, which I really wanted to look at with you, I initially had a complex work of conceptual art to look at, And then I just found myself honing in more and more just on this woman. And somehow, the most appropriate work that came to my mind was the work, actually in a broad sense, of Ana Mendieta, an extraordinary Cuban, Afro-Cuban artist who had a short life. Her life ended tragically at quite a young age. She died suddenly at a young age. But before she did, she was exiled from Cuba. She was taken as a 12-year-old away from her family as a refugee, effectively, and settled in Iowa, where she experienced great difficulty encountering this, to her, strange culture. And then as an artist, she returned often to Latin America, to Central America, and Mexico in particular, and rediscovered a connection with that culture. And she made many extraordinary works, films, sculptures, photographs, and so on, often using herself. And in this extraordinary piece, she occupies disused niches in an old monastery that she visited in Mexico. And you can see her body is shrouded here in a white cloth. It's a little bit like a living sculpture, but the body, it's both mobile and immobile. It's both seen and unseen, known and not known. There's an anonymity to it. She's straining at that cloth, the binding that holds her and constrains her. And it made me think about these dynamics of touch, of ideas of purity, symbolized by this unstained, flawless cloth here. Think about, really, not to put too fine a point on it, the staining that is part of the everyday life of a woman with uncontrollable, incessant bleeding, and what that means. Ana Mendieta herself worked extensively with blood in her artistic practice, often in contact with her own body. This is a still from a performance called Body Tracks, where she drags her hands down a surface that is smeared with either red pigment or blood. She used paint and blood, animal blood, interchangeably in some of these works. They're very suggestive of ritual practices, which is something she was very interested in from her Cuban heritage. But there's something also that reminds me of this woman, her desperation, her focus, her determination, her reaching out, and that kind of breaking down of a barrier that happens at that moment of touch, the breaking of a taboo that is, in the end, the liberation of her as she falls and comes trembling and falling down before Jesus, as Jesus realizes this woman's faith and her healing. And it makes me think of other works by Ana Mendieta, and finally, a kind of defiant staining, if you like, and films she made. I like this image as she walks away, upright, away from that trace of her touch. I'm keeping an eye on the time and taking us to think a little bit about resonance, listening. We're still a little bit with the senses. We've looked at touch and moving on to listening. But I like the word resonance more. I wanted to show you this painting, a Spanish painting from the so-called Golden Age, of a kitchen maid pausing at her work. She's in a shadowy interior. She's at her place of labor. She's surrounded by domestic vessels that she's perhaps been using to prepare a meal, or maybe she's about to prepare a meal. There's a pestle and mortar. There's a garlic bulb. There's a cloth in front of her, various vessels. But we can see from her attitude that she pauses, and you will have noticed, again, at the margins, at the edge, at the hem of the painting, if you like. Just there is a scene that we can make out through a kind of opening, like a window or an aperture. And indeed, this is Diego Velázquez, kitchen maid with the supper at Emmaus. Let's just remind ourselves, when he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. Look at that, and how that passage is so much about seeing, recognizing, the moment of recognition in the gesture. The eyes are opened. There's recognition, there's vanishing. There's a lot around the optics. What about this woman that Velázquez imagines in 17th century Seville, where he was working? A kitchen maid, a lowly person, domestic worker, who senses something too, without looking, and I think that is crucial. She doesn't look, but something resonates for her. Briefly, I want to show you something interesting, which is that until 1933, the painting looked like this. This is an old black and white photograph of it. Can you see that something's missing? At some point between when Velázquez painted the kitchen maid with the supper at Emmaus, somebody owned it and decided simply to obliterate the part of the painting that, for whatever reason, they didn't want there. It seems extraordinary to us, but the art historical explanation for this is that the genre, the type of painting of a kitchen scene, was the most fashionable at that time. And probably an owner at some point wanted a Velázquez kitchen scene. These scenes were known as a bodegon, a kitchen or a taverna scene, where the viewer of the painting could admire the vessels, the objects owned by a domestic household. And we can extrapolate to the kitchen maid belongs in that view, in that 17th century view, to the objects that belong to the household. And for whatever reason, the supper at Emmaus was obliterated, obscured, but of course it was there all the time, and diligent restorers at the National Gallery of Ireland found that it was there and revealed it again. So the painting is restored back to its present state. But I've hinted at a sense of this woman being owned. The painting has been known for centuries and in many different contexts by a different title, Mulata, La Mulata. I talked about this painting to another group at one point. There was a priest in the audience who is from Spain, and he said, oh yes, the painting is still known by that title there. And it refers to the woman, who is a woman of mixed race. The term mulata, as you might know, derives from the idea of the mule, the mix of a horse and donkey as beasts of labor mixed together to make a strong laboring body. And we should remember in looking at this painting that when it was painted in Seville in the 17th century, the population of the city was 120,000, and it is estimated that 30,000 of that population were enslaved in one way or another. If we bear this in mind, it becomes entirely plausible that this is the situation of this woman as well, who Velázquez places at the center of this scene. She is the one who perceives without seeing. And I love that dramatic reimagining of this scene from the perspective of this woman whose exact circumstances we can't know, but we can conjecture, and we can conjecture how she would have been seen by viewers at the time who would have seen her as the lowliest of status. And she is the central agent of this image. rather brilliantly, do you remember that time in the pandemic when there was a bit of a craze for restaging great works of art? Do you remember people doing all sorts of things with loo rolls and whatever, and restaging old masters' paintings and so on? Well, as part of that phenomenon, a well-known, wonderful opera singer, Peter Braithwaite, who's a London-based British opera singer, started making a series of these kinds of works as well, focusing on black figures in works of art. And he made a series called Rediscovering Black Portraiture in this guise. And there he is, that's Peter Braithwaite, in his kitchen in London, restaging Velázquez's Kitchen Maid, rather brilliantly, as you can see. It's such a clever image for lots of reasons, but the thing that I love about it the most is, can you see what's up in the top left-hand corner of Peter Braithwaite's image? It's not the Supper at Emmaus, but it is a score of Bach's St. John's Passion. And so think about it, it's just brilliant. For this singer, this man who is immersed in singing, in music, what for him resonates? The presence of God. He's activating that sense of hearing. And he's playing, I think, with the fact that, of course, you don't hear a score of music, but there's a kind of sensory relationship there that's witty and brilliant, I think. And it's a lovely detail that Braithwaite himself has sung the role of Christ in Bach's St. John's Passion. So there's a relationship there, too. I came across something in a book that I picked up, actually, in the somewhere on Iona, and this writer said something that stayed with me. Sometimes I think that faith is only about increasing peripheral vision, peripheral hearing. I think that's as good a definition for at least one aspect of faith as any other that I know. And, we can think about all these borders and so on that we've been looking at. I can see I'm slightly running out of time, so I'm going to briefly touch on, an episode from Acts. I once asked a family if I could basically borrow their 7-year-old daughter. There's a lovely Christian family, and I asked the lovely Christian parents to read to the daughter a particular Bible passage and then get her to do a rendering of it. And this is Abigail, aged 7's, brilliant rendition of Paul on the road to Damascus. Let's just stop and take a look at this for a moment. How brilliant, how economically brilliant this is. So, we have a man who looks pretty displeased, downturned mouth, eyes are slits. You see, the eyes are closed, but there's a lot going on above in the sky, which is radiant. There are angels, they look really happy, big upturned smiles there, and a central figure who's definitely saying something, mouth wide open. A great details here. Look at the way that the posture of the unhappy man below mimics the posture of the speaking man above. I can tell you've worked it out, obviously, already. I forewarned Matt that we might not have time for all the readings. He would have read, obviously, the story of Paul on the road to Damascus there. But we remember that suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. We have Caravaggio's painting, Paul fallen back. The light is stood in for by the piebald horse, and that leg threateningly raised, which is almost like a zigzag of lightning. Do you see it? And the vulnerability of that figure who crashes back to the floor in a posture of complete submission, vulnerability, some fleshy parts of his body exposed to the threat of that horse's hoof that could come down in a stamp at any moment. Bruegel tackled the subject as well hiding Paul away as a tiny detail in a landscape. I'm getting towards the end. We started slightly late, so I'll just go on just a couple of minutes. And I've brought us back to Bruegel because he has this habit of hiding these little details in these images of the world. The famous Hunters in the Snow, secular painting, snowy landscape. Can you see on the ice in the distance that somebody's taken a fall? There, almost unseen, a fallen figure. Behind, a house is on fire. I find it poignant that Bruegel puts Paul's fall from the horse into a melee of his own, surrounded by all of that life going on. There's a bringing down and an embedding in humanity. In the church that I attend, which is St. Mary's Scottish Episcopal Cathedral in Glasgow, we have these windows. One shows Paul at that moment of hearing the voice of the Lord. I love in this Victorian window, I don't know who it's designed by, but I just love that I walk past it and I see Paul dropping his sword and then brilliantly being led away by the hand, as the scripture tells us, with his head hung low, of course, to meet Ananias and the restoration of sight as something like scales fell from his eyes. My concluding passage is to show you some works by Andreas Gursky, who is interested in our contemporary world. This 99-cent photograph. Look at this as an image of our contemporary life. Or his photograph titled Amazon, which came after he made a series of photographs of great rivers. He made these in the 90s, and then in 2016, the Rhine has become the Amazon. I'm compelled and horrified by Gursky's work all at the same time. He photographs these mega signs, as he calls them. This one was one I stood in front of at the Biennale in Venice a few years ago. And it shows workers at a wicker factory in Vietnam, women who are working to produce wicker objects to be sold in the West, cheaply, all over the place. I stood there, I thought about hands going back, layer upon layer, multitudes of unnamed people. As I stood there, I moved closer. And suddenly I saw a woman looking out, looking at me. I noticed her. Just a little fragment like this. There she is. Reminding me of another woman in a crowd, lost in a crowd, unseen, unnoticed, until she did something. Makes me think of this too. And I want to end by reading Thomas Merton, who's a writer I love very much, and this is one of the most extraordinary things I think he ever wrote. In 1966, Merton, the Trappist contemplative monk and activist, we live in the time of no room, which is the time of the end. The time when everyone is obsessed with lack of time, lack of space, with saving time, conquering space, projecting into time and space the anguish produced within them by the technological furies of size, volume, quantity, speed, number, price, power, and acceleration. Into this world, this demented inn, in which there is absolutely no room for him at all, Christ has come uninvited. Thank you.
Debbie, thank you. Before we finish, we're just going to take a moment. I'd be surprised if everybody didn't have something speak to them quite profoundly of those images. I know I did. So just literally a moment or two of silence. You have some of the images there. Stay your eye upon them. And then following that, Rana will come forward, lead us in prayer before we move to the next part of the evening.
Let us pray. Jesus, may we always make room for you. We thank you for this opportunity to be together as a church family. We thank you that we are able to worship you in safety. We're reminded by the intercultural music at the start of this session that not all Christians are able to worship in safety and security. We are also reminded that you are for everyone. We are blessed with all our speakers who bring their stories and their talents. May we learn with open hearts and open minds from everybody that we hear, from everyone that we meet, and from all the different forms of worship. May we also take heart that worshiping you takes many different forms, and we each have our own unique talents. May we be touched by something from every session we attend, touched by everyone we meet and we listen to. May we grow in our faith, recharged by everything that we learn, filled with your joy, not so that we can keep it for ourselves, but so that we can take it out to the world, share it with everyone, so that they may come to know you. And now, may we close together with the grace. So with the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with us all evermore. Amen.
Friends, if we could just give one very, very quick round of applause to all those who contributed this evening. Thank you very much indeed. And I know you're desperate to get to the next thing, but the management has an announcement.
You are no doubt wondering, how do I find out about the Bible study stream? Where is morning prayer? Where are the workshops? Well, I'm here to give you a hand. H-A-N-D. On arrival, you were given a handout, a blue piece of paper. Please read it tonight before hitting that sack, or look at it before breakfast. It tells you all about the venues and where you need to be. A, on your phone, you have the app, Fruitful app. On there, on the bottom menu, there's a tab that says Conference. On that tab, you can find out about the timetable, the venue, and it has a map of where to be. And you can send a message back home to your brothers and sisters across Lancashire to say, hey, tune in to the live stream on the app or through YouTube. N, if you follow the notifications in the app, then you will receive lots of interesting news. In your handout, it tells you how to sign up for those notifications. Notifications such as tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in here, the Archdeacon of Blackburn, Jane Atkinson, will be celebrating a BCP Holy Communion. D, on your phone, you can go to our digital brochure, foundbyjesus.info. It's comprehensive. It has all that you need on that brochure. Venues, timetables, information about workshops, and all the other concerts and things like that. So I wanted to give you a hand. Just work with me. Let's spell it out again. H is for, A is for, N is for, D is for digital brochure. Why don't you give each other a hand for being here today? Our place, next to Fresh Food Court, our place is when the quiz takes place.
Ooh, how was that? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it, Alex? Yeah, we are, mate. Yeah. Alex is completely ready, and he was so transported by the art and the low lights and the warm heat that he's here now. Are you plugged in?
Plugged in.
Have you got your hearing aid on?
Do you know what? Yeah. I don't know about you. Well, I do know you, Catherine. You're like me, you're not that clever.
Speak for yourself.
No, I'm only joking. You're a highly intelligent woman.
Yes, I am.
Unlike
Thank
me. But I'm interested in what you think about that art presentation, because when I watched it, I just said to Chris, I'm not highbrow, but I like somebody explain to me what's going on in pictures. Did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it was easy to understand. The little details, I love those tiny details where she zoomed in and you could see Paul on his knees, and otherwise I'd have never seen it. I'd have walked past and thought, oh, that looks lovely. I haven't got a clue what it's about, but it looks lovely.
Where's
but
the bar?
that zooming in, yeah, there's the bar. But yeah, no, that zooming in and that showing and that explaining helps it come alive in a way that I'd have never have seen my own.
She's got a lovely way about her as well, hasn't she?
Yeah.
You know.
I could listen to her for hours.
Yeah, I felt like that. Yeah, and it was pretty hot in there as well,
Oh
wasn't
my
it?
goodness, yes. I sat at the back near the fan.
What about the day itself? Have you enjoyed it so far?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been very warm. Definitely was not this warm when I left home this morning. But no, it's been brilliant to catch up with old friends, to meet with new people, to sing and to worship together. Some good food at dinner, which is always good. Nice glass of wine later. But no, it's been a really, really good start. I've loved it so far.
And how are you feeling about the quiz, which is coming up next for us?
I will show you my intelligence in the quiz, Alex.
Great.
Take from that what you will.
Super trooper.
And what about the workshops and the other? Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to the week ahead, or is it a bit like the
That requires me to remember what I've booked in for.
Luckily, they're written on.
Luckily, they're written on the back of my thing.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
I don't. That's got codes I don't understand. I think I'm going to one. Well, I know for a fact there's one about women. And as somebody who considers herself very much a feminist, I'm looking forward to women in Luke, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah. And what about this opportunity to take a bit of time out as well?
Oh my
You know,
goodness,
how are you treating this week?
Absolutely, as a time for some time out. There will be some naps,
Excellent.
very definitely.
Excellent.
I am looking forward to a rest, to not having the dog in bed with me every night. I can't wait.
Yeah, fair enough. Excellent. Well, Catherine, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
We're now ushering you out with all politeness and joy.
Yes.
And we're going to welcome our next guest for a Vox Pop, who's going
Thank you very much.
And I do know Catherine reasonably well. I wasn't being.
He
it
was
all
being
in good
rude,
I'll
but he
take it
knows
well.
her, so
I'll
it's
take
all
it
right.
well.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Don't forget, while we're waiting for our next guest to come on in, thanks,
He's
Catherine.
here.
He's here. You can join us, and you can let us know that you're with us by. But come on, Sam, come on in. By commenting on the app or on YouTube. Let us know you're watching. Let us know what you're interested in. What's your highlight? Why don't you let us know and engage with us? This is going smoothly. Sam, how are you?
Great, thank you very much.
Good.
It's good.
We got Sam from Clitheroe. Sam, I've got to start with the Pendle Hill reference in there.
Yes,
in the hymn.
the
Pretty cool.
legacy of Pendle Hill. Yeah, which one we're not sure, but it's good to have it up there and good to see. I can see it from my window actually, so it's quite nice.
Chris and I know you really well. Just tell people down the camera there where you are actually based in Clitheroe.
Yeah, so I'm at St James Clitheroe. I've been there since September, so we're not quite a year yet, and I'm having a great time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can vouch that you are because we came across to see
Came for
Sam's.
lunch.
We came for lunch and it was fabulous. It was lovely. So.
Yeah, good.
And what about the conference? Sam, enjoying the day so far?
Oh yes, excellent. It's always excellent, and you know tonight, this was always going to be a highlight for me. She was fantastic 4 years ago, and fantastic again tonight.
We were just alluding with Catherine that it's great to have somebody explain the picture to you, particularly for somebody like myself that I'm not an expert in art, but I really like somebody telling me what's actually going on. I mean, some of it's obvious, but the little nuggets. Are you a connoisseur of fine art?
Oh no, probably like you. We've all stood in front of a Caravaggio and wondered what on earth is going on. And
Chris thought it was an ice cream.
Yeah, and
Marco Caravaggio.
But yeah, it was excellent, and she gives you insight and she gives you a bit more understanding, and really brings out some wonderful things. And tonight's about bringing out the sort of the silent bits, the secret people coming out and being brought out. I thought was absolutely excellent.
Yeah. And what about the R&R side of the conference? A lot of people are here for different reasons, for education and some theology. What's your kind of approach to this week?
Yeah, well, of course, I'm looking forward to being fed in those things,
Yes.
and always have been at conferences, at the Diocesan Conferences. But actually coming and seeing people that you don't get to interact with in the same way. If I was to phone either of you two, you'd probably wonder what I want. But it's quite nice just to be able to sit and to chat with people, to have dinner with people. The pub quiz is coming on. We've got a bit of exercise tomorrow.
Yeah.
All of these sorts of things just help sort of build up the spirit and the body and the soul all in one. And it's
and what
great.
about the footy? Did you stay up for that last night, or you?
No, I didn't see anything. I got it open at 6 o'clock in the morning. And watched it as if it were live at 6 a.m. But I'm actually half Portuguese, so I've got another dog in the fight right as we speak. But it's half time, which is why I accepted the invite to come and speak to you.
I think we saw you in there actually. Well, Sam, mate, it's lovely to see you again.
No, thank you so much.
Coming into our little not so green room. It's decorated.
It's the loveliest broom cupboard I've ever been in.
No, it's good, and I'm sure your viewer will be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much.
Don't forget the cat. Thanks, Sam. So we're back tomorrow at 10:30, live from the Diocesan Conference.
Half past 10.
10:30. So Alex and I will be with you again at 10:30 to warm you up and to tantalise you with our next speaker and the rest of the day. That's right, isn't it?
Well, good luck with
that. But we'd love for you to message us to let us know that you're watching and that you're with us and what you're enjoying. What are you highlighting as you join us on the internet?
And do share it with people. We want as many people to reach out to this as they can. So if you've enjoyed any of the sessions today, tell your mate or your neighbour at the church, or put it on your Facebook post and check us out at the Blackburn Diocese YouTube page. But we shall go say good night and
God bless. Yes.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, 10:30. Bye bye.
Pop quiz.
Hey.